Hey everybody, welcome back to another Jarvi blog. It's Thursday morning, so we are here to bring you some of the hot topics in the labor world. And let me tell you, today we are serving up some hot topics.
Extra.
I'm Zach.
I'm Allie.
And Bill can't be here today, but if he were here, he'd probably say something like...
He would probably say something like, recruitment starts at retention.
I'm just going to guess at that. I think you're right, Allie. He would probably
stab
say
in
that.
the dark there.
Yep. So we're going to support him the best as we can without him here today. Today
he's the real star of the show. No one watches for us.
They all tune in for Bill. So today we're here at the Atwater Atwater Brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, ready to bring you some tips on how to perform in a phone interview. Today's going to be a little bit different. We normally come at you from like the perspective of an employer side of things, but today we're actually going to come at you from both sides, a little bit more on the employee side of things. But some tips are going to help you if you're an employer as well. Allie, last week we talked about some of the concerns and stats surrounding hiring these days. One of the biggest ones that stood out is how many people feel like the hiring process is very impersonal and not very connected. And the topic we're talking about today can kind of hurt that statistic, or if you approach it right, might actually help that statistic. Because a lot of interviews these days happen over the phone, your initial interview at least, or they can happen over Google Hangouts or Skype or some kind of video interview too. So there's a lot of things you can do to maximize that. What are some of the tips that you would suggest?
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost, absolutely be prepared. It's really easy to think that, a phone interview is kind of an informal process or it doesn't really matter that much. That honestly could not be farther from the truth, because you only get one chance to make a good first impression, and that phone interview or that Skype interview or Google Hangouts interview is that shot at a first impression.
That's true.
So always be prepared. And some ways you can be prepared are making sure that you have your resume handy anywhere you go. So whether you keep like a little digital file on your phone or your tablet so that you have it if you're out, and an HR manager happens to call you and asks if you have a couple of minutes, then you can easily pull it right up. And then if you have this phone interview scheduled ahead of time, make sure that you have your resume handy, whether in print form, but then really we would recommend that you have it open on like a computer or a laptop so that you can quickly access it. And then that goes for your resume, cover letter, and then any other documents or digital files that you might have that are relevant to the position that you're going for. And then it's super easy then if the person that is hiring you, the HR manager, is looking for your resume, then you can quickly send it to them and say, hey, I've got it up right here. And I think that just sets you apart and gives that extra little step of, hey, I'm prepared and I really am interested in this position. So
it's the little things.
Yeah, it's the little things and they matter. So yeah, making sure that you're just being prepared and that you have all your materials and that you're as rehearsed as can be, because there are a lot of common interview questions that you might get asked, and so having those answers kind of prepared, not like line for line rehearsed so that it sounds like you're reading off a script, but just being able to answer the questions, knowing that you kind of have had the time to prepare, and then making sure that you kind of are familiar with your own resume. So if there's a specific experience or job responsibility that the HR manager brings up, you can be prepared to talk about that.
I think the phone interview experience kind of offers you an opportunity too to set yourself apart. She's kind of talked about like the little ways that you would definitely want to set yourself apart, but think about like the extra little things. Like normally in an interview situation you may not get to have a computer handy. Think about on a phone interview, if you could take someone on a tour of your portfolio or websites that you've worked on, that's a really good chance to help set you apart from your competition during a phone interview, or maybe they can't see it. Any other tips that you'd like recommend? Or
yeah, I don't know, maybe we could talk about your body language, because that matters.
Yeah,
even though you're not being seen if it's on the phone.
I was gonna say you may not be seen if you're on the phone, but you also may be seen if you're on Google Hangouts or on Skype. So even though you may not be interacting with a person, know that someone might be watching you, and maybe set up the background of your camera shot a little bit. Maybe put your diploma if you have a college degree in the back, or any kind of certifications that you might have. That'll make you look really cool to the person who's going to potentially be hiring you. But I'm thinking, like, what if you're not going to have that video interaction? It's just on the phone. You've heard of smile and dial, right? Like, you ever done sales and heard of smile and dial? In this case, you may not be actually dialing, but think about smiling and answering. You know, the way you look and present yourself over the phone is going to translate audibly to that person on the other end. So maybe set yourself up next to a mirror. So you can see yourself and stay smiling, stay happy, and I guarantee you that will breed results during your interview.
Yeah, I'd say you can definitely tell kind of the demeanor of someone over the phone.
Oh, absolutely.
So I would not take that for granted at all. Be happy, chipper, and enthusiastic while you're speaking on the phone. So.
Yep. And some little things too is like don't chew gum, don't eat. Sometimes you kind of don't think about that stuff if you're over the phone, especially if you're at home when you're getting a call. But definitely don't be smacking any gum when someone's talking to you. That can be easily picked up by a phone, and that won't sound too good. Also, like if it's good to have like water or like a beverage to help refresh you, stay hydrated. Because if your voice gets scratchy, that can translate poorly over the phone. You won't have the other things to help you there. You won't have necessarily your smile or your face or the clothes you're wearing to help you through that. All they've got is your voice. So your voice is super important in that case, and it's almost magnified. I actually have a story about this. I was interviewing someone about 8 months ago or so, and this person was just getting over an illness and was coughing over the phone during the interview. And they didn't have any water, they didn't have any lozenges or anything. I actually had to end the interview because we couldn't actually converse at all. It was really hard to get an answer. So I had to end the interview and pick it up another time, and that was a big negative look for that person. So you definitely don't want any of that to happen. Over-prepare for the situation, and I guarantee you're going to have good results.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with all of that.
Yeah, yep. Anything else you can think of that you'd want to focus on?
Absolutely. Follow up.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't forget to follow up, even though it's a phone interview. I mean, we all know that you need to send a thank you after your in-person interview, but it's just as important, maybe even if not more important, to do it after the phone interview, because like we mentioned before, you don't get another chance at a first impression, and this phone interview or this Google Hangout or Skype interview is that first impression, and it's going to be noticed if you don't follow up.
Absolutely.
I would say it's going to be noticed more if you don't follow up than if you do, just because it's the norm that
I was gonna
you
say,
send a thank you and you follow up. And
a phone interview is an interview. Treat it like one. You'll be fine. Jarvi's got your back. Don't worry. We definitely want to thank Atwater Brewing for having us here today. It's kind of a dreary day here, but hey, we're going to have some fun in here today. So stay tuned for us next Thursday. We come at you every Thursday morning. Bill hopefully will be joining us next week. Otherwise, we'll let you know what happened to Bill if you have any guesses. But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us.